Hello, Oracles! Well, we've got some rumors coming out that we may see some deliveries of Cybertrucks this December. So we already know that we are looking at the semi-truck coming out on December 1st. We've got the whole event that's going to be going on over in Nevada. They're going to be releasing this, giving the first deliveries over to Pepsi. And from what we have heard, they're looking to be delivering 100 semi-trucks in this year alone, which means that we will be delivering 100 semi-trucks in December. Now, we also have a follow-up rumor saying that we will be getting 30 Cybertrucks getting delivered in December as well. So this again is just a rumor, take it with a grain of salt, getting some insider info on this, but there are no names that are being said as far as who the insider is, but we are hearing that there are going to be these 30 trucks getting delivered. It does sound like these 30 are going to be manually built, so probably not production line ready, so it's not like, hey, we're going to deliver these 30 because production line is up and running, and then we're going to start cranking in Q1 of next year for even more. These sound like they're going to be manually built, so I don't know if they're going to be the exact same as what we are going to see when we do get the production lines up and running. I don't know if these are going to be fully functional for people to take on the road and use as a Cybertruck would, or if it's just going to be for showroom purposes only. Lots of unknowns around this, but that is the rumor that we will be seeing 30 of these get released. Now, we mentioned it last night how Sawyer Merritt was asking Elon over on Twitter if we would be getting the release information about the Cybertruck at the semi event. Personally, I think they're going to give the semi the limelight, and then right afterwards we may get that information from the Cybertruck. And maybe when they do release these, we will end up seeing the ordering page come up for the Cybertruck with us being able to choose whatever trim we want. That is what I am most looking forward to, is being able to get that page up and running. Let's see the specs, let's see the pricing, all this information that so many of us have so many questions on. Hopefully we can get that information within the next month. And speaking of being ahead of schedule, GM came out at their conference yesterday stating that they are looking to have their EV business be as profitable as their ICE business by 2025, which is ahead of schedule. Now, they did say that it's a lot due to the fact that they're going to be giving these EV tax credits and other government subsidies, which again, going back to the point that we have been making all year long, is the fact that Tesla does not need any of this EV tax credit stuff that is coming out. It's just going to help them even more, but it is going to be able to keep all of these legacy automotive makers alive. This is literally them saying that they can get to that point of profitability if they get all of these subsidies. So keeping in mind right now as well, their ICE vehicle margins are not that high. It's not like they're looking at, the 25, 30, 35% like Tesla has with their vehicles. No, their ICE vehicles are around that, 7 to 10% range. So if they're going to have their EVs to be that 7 to 10% range with all of the government subsidies, what is their profit margin without all of that? So when the government subsidies go away, what's going to happen to their profits? They're going to erode entirely. So keeping in mind that that is what their goal is for 2025, is getting themselves to that 7 to 10% range when it comes to the margins for their EV vehicles. So still kind of sad that that is their goal, and they're excited about the fact that they're going to get there ahead of schedule. But again, I'm all for people who are trying to push this EV revolution going forward, but you put it out there in a manner that you guys are doing the best, but Tesla's been beating you guys without any subsidies for years, and now we're just going to be getting to that point in 2025 where Tesla might actually be pushing 40% margins on their vehicles, even with a compact, because you're going to be putting FSD in there, and that's going to be huge margins on top of it. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if we can get there, but this is what GM has said that their plan is looking forward. And speaking of legacy automotive plans looking forward, we've got VW coming out saying that they have completely revamped their entire strategy going forward when it comes to EVs. Rob Maurer did a great video over on Tesla Daily breaking down all of the different stuff that's going on with VW, but it sounds like with their new leadership, all the plans that they had in place, which was going to be the foundation that they built their entire future of EVs on, has now been delayed and or scrapped. They're not even going to be putting up the factory over in Wolfsburg, which was going to be the birthplace of their new entire Trinity lineup. They're not going to be doing any of that stuff, and it looks like their original goal was going to be about 2026. Now they're looking at 2029 or 2030. So we could discuss in the comments, but where do you think the entire EV world is going to be in 2030? And do you think VW coming out with their big lineup in 2030 is actually going to make an impact at all at that time? And do you think VW will even be around at that point if that's the direction that we are going? So you guys can let me know your thoughts on that, but this is just another step backwards when it comes to VW. And again, we had talked about it before when Herbert Diess had some falling out with them initially. He was trying to push them and really encourage them and say, look, this is the direction we're going. This is the direction we need to change to go. And then they decided that that's not what they wanted and they pulled him away, and that's it. So looks like Herbert Diess saw what was coming. VW does not want to see what's coming. They do not want to change. And it looks like they may be crumbling more than we thought. And this to me brings up a good point that I have seen in a lot of different places that I have worked over the years. There's two different mindsets when it comes to fixing a problem. There is the, hey, we've got a problem here. We need to put a band-aid on it to get us through that problem. Or this is a problem here. Let's figure out what the problem is and solve it at the root of the problem. In many cases, that is just eliminating that problem altogether. Those are the two mindsets. The problem with the first one is when you start putting band-aids on top of problems and nobody ever gets back to actually solving the root of the problem, it's just band-aid on top of band-aid on top of band-aid, and eventually people forget what the actual root of that problem was because they're so busy trying to solve the most recent band-aid that they've put on there and fix the problems that were caused by that band-aid. Thinking about your health in particular, if you get a wound and you put a band-aid on it, but you don't actually clean that wound or do anything to heal it properly, you're going to end up getting gangrene, you're going to end up getting some other issues when it comes to all the wound itself because you didn't end up healing it properly. And if you just put another band-aid on top of that band-aid, and then maybe you remove the band-aid and put another band-aid on top of it, but never actually get to solve the problem in the first place, it is not going to matter. You are still going to end up having major problems with that wound. This is where Elon comes in. Elon sees a problem right from the deep core of the problem. So right now we were talking in the comments about ICE vehicles. You know, they had issues with the emissions, so they came out with catalytic converters. Okay, that was a band-aid on top of the problem. So they keep on putting band-aids on top of the problems, which make more parts that can go wrong. Now, if that part goes wrong, we need another solution to that problem. Thinking about right now, I know in our area here we have had a rash of people going around and stealing catalytic converters off of vehicles. They went into school bus yards and stole them all from there. Well, guess what? EVs don't have catalytic converters. So maybe that's going to cause another problem in the future, but all these little band-aided problems that we have when it comes to ICE vehicles are now eliminated because you've eliminated all of those parts and all of those issues. So the problem of emissions is eliminated entirely when you drive an EV. We can get into discussions about coal being the powering of it, but again, that's another problem that we need to take the band-aid off of. So if people are coming out here and saying, well, EVs aren't as clean as you think because we've got coal power plants, well then let's remove the coal power plants. Simple as that. That's where solar and wind come into play. You start providing that kind of clean energy, then you get rid of the other problem. You don't need to put a band-aid on that problem. Again, these are the two different mindsets. The people who are saying that EVs aren't as clean are in that old band-aid mindset. Well, if there's a problem, then fix the problem. That's it. Let's not put a band-aid on it. And so this is what Elon is doing, and this is what Elon does with all of his companies, and this is what Elon is doing with Twitter. And when it comes to Twitter as well, and we're not going to dive too far into it, but from a social construct standpoint, there has been a lot of cancer that has been running through a lot of social media. He is going in there to fix that problem and remove the cancer and not just put some band-aids on it. Now, you can pose an argument and say that, well, we should just get rid of social media altogether because it's just rotting people's brains. You can make that argument, but you've got to take a step back and realize that the way humans grow is through communication. So we need to have communication, and right now, social media is the best way for us to communicate. We can get through things faster. We need the internet. Think about what Elon has been providing to different countries around the world, like Brazil, bringing Starlink down there, giving these children over there access to the internet, access to information. We need that access to information to be able to help us grow in a communication manner. So having social media is important, but it's also very important to make sure that the communication that you get is going to be very truthful and honest as to what is actually going on and not being swayed by a small group of people and their agenda. That is what his intention is right now. Again, we still need to make sure this plays out the way he intends, but that is the intention, is fixing that whole entire social construct from the root. And this is what we see with Tesla as well. With EVs, they come out and he solved it from the root. And then he already anticipated the issue when it came to the coal power plants. Oh, he already has a solution for that as well when it comes to solar and wind power. He foresees a lot of these issues that are going forward and has the solutions already for these problems that could be arising in other band-aided areas. So again, these are just the two mindsets. And for me, when it comes down to my life, I try to do the same thing, obviously on a much smaller scale than Tesla and or Twitter. But in my life, I see, hey, is there a problem? I need to fix this from the root. Sometimes you've got to go and put a band-aid on something as a temporary measure just because you cannot fix that problem in the moment. That's fine, but you always have to remember what the root cause of that problem is to be able to get back to it in order to solve it. Because if all you do is keep on putting band-aid on top of band-aid on top of band-aid, you're never ever going to solve that problem. You are going to end up with worse problems down the road. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think we are actually going to be seeing these 30 Cybertrucks getting released in December? And do you think we are going to be getting the ordering page coming up as well, so we can see what all the trims are and what the prices are for the Cybertruck when it gets fully released next year? And tonight I should be hopping on a live stream. I'm going to be having some guests on here potentially. I've got to throw invites out to some guys, Vinny, Brian. We'll see if they are able to jump on tonight. But again, I will throw the link out to you guys as well as members and patrons if you guys want to hop on and join us also. So I'll have that link out to you guys. That'll be on at 6 p.m. Eastern time tonight. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. I am over on Twitter at OracleTim1. I share all of the latest Tesla news, pertinent stock market information, and all of my daily trades. We do have a Discord chat, that link is down in the description, and if you'd like to support the channel any further, we do have a membership program and a Patreon. Those links are also in the description. Thank you so much. Have a great one.